Good morning, and this is your crypto day morning. Today's date, that is that of Tuesday, not Monday, Tuesday, the 4th of December 2018. All bets, trades, and of the like within one's own risk and their own reward. And let's take a look at these charts with limited candles. And we can see each period a lot more clearly because there's only so many to see. And then quickly scroll through multiple time frames, getting the read on the 5-minute time frame. It had this level of support in here at about 39.37 where it stands or supporting now, and then this level at about 39.30. So the 39.30 range we can see is obviously what's looking to be the key level. Let's just keep going through. And all of a sudden now, this price has been going sideways when looking at this at the 15-minute time frame, because at 1 o'clock in the morning, the price action, after breaking down some of the support that we can see, had a decent size rally. But when we look at the volatility, 37.46, the high about a little over 30, a bit over 200 points. So that works out to about 6%. So okay, given the fact that we've been having some improved volatility lately from what we had preceding such. So the move has had the good play and then going sideways through time, digesting a key move. Anytime it goes up or down, how is it going to digest it? Hasn't broken past any of this established resistance or support as of yet, but we got this line in here in at about 39.18. I drew that in yesterday, which we'll see very soon. And well, we can see it in here. This was a key level of support. And what happened at 10 o'clock in the morning yesterday is it had broken through, and then just like we see this sideways consolidation, that's what it did as well. Of course, this one more volatile as it came down to the 37.48 low, rallied up to 38.80, so it had a 3 or so percent move that had shot back and forth throughout the day. So it technically didn't have that much of a break of short-term support because it matched the support from the 11 a.m. time frame. But we look at this further, and we look at this on the 4-hour time frame, and it hasn't loaded yet. There we go. What we're seeing here is, and I'm just going to give it a few more periods. There we go. So after this double bottom formation, it broke out, but it didn't have that great of a gain. It supported this key area. Now let's take a look at this. Well, yeah, that was the key support in here that it had. It obviously broke below. So what I wanted to talk about, this is exactly the time frame that I'm looking for. You have the situation of that failed breakdown. And, well, I can't say that. It's possible failed breakdown. You broke a key level of support, and then you quickly came back up to that congestion range with that 1 o'clock rally. So therefore, this to me is either one of two things, because as you break key levels like this, establish a point of support, and then you come back, we're meeting up with the 18, we're back at that level. Is this going to be a spot where previous support becomes resistance? If it falls, breaks below the 18, it sure enough will. And most likely it would dip below this and then take a test of this previous low at around 3,500. And of course, for short-term support, that's what I'd be looking for, probably only amongst that level. But that's the resistance. If it manages to have any type of move above 4,070-ish or so, holding the 18 lows, which is currently at about the high 3,800 level, then that's got that potential. Just seeing that for a decent size gain. And the daily chart, if we have a decent size gain, then that would just basically make it up to the upper end of this range of about 4,200 and change, as it is yet to have tested the 18 average of highs among such. Very hard for me to trust this rally, as I've been stating so many times. And I think for me, my best strategy is just keep my buy orders in at around the 3,000 level and do what I need to do if and when they get executed on the weekly term time frame. Obviously, within this case, finding the break below the support. Of course, that's why I've talked about the 3,000. This level of 6,200 represented a 23% or 23.6% rather Fibonacci down correction from the major highs and the major lows. And in this case, the major highs I'm referring to is the 20,000 major lows in here. And 3,000 represents 38.2% down. And it's relatively accurate. When you have situations like this, you break the support, and that's basically where it's more times than not, well over 80-90%, it's going to hit that level, maybe pierce above, but usually within these markets probably pierce below it, and then from that point usually either have a significant rally or a major sell-off. Again, I'll talk about the differential there, because when support or resistance that's supposed to is not, you just have continuation big moves. But my prediction, or I guess, yeah, not prediction, my educated guess is rather, is that 3,000 would have well better than a 80-90% chance of being very good support as it plays through. So let's take a look at some altcoins. And we'll start with Theta on the daily term time frame, which had that monstrous rally. I've talked a lot about this. Go over it very quickly. We've had to move to this 18, decent sized move. If we can get a sustained breakout coming up above any short-term resistance highs, which a very good break above 1870, then this has the potential to maybe do well into the 2000s going forward as a minimum base. But we look at this on a more shorter term time frame. Next up with the single hour chart. It was last night, the market, after just doing this downtrend, then going sideways, broke above this established resistance at 1672, established from 7 and 8 o'clock in the morning yesterday, and a decent sized gain. It comes back down to the 18 average of lows with this very decent size correction in here, but one that does make a higher low from the lows that came in before it. This session on, or the 6 a.m. hour period, broke above the 18 average of highs, retesting this previous level of previous many hit resistance at around 1841 from before. It's pulling back, so very, very important that it makes the higher low now from the 1655. That's why I like the 18 average of lows. Right now that's it at 1700, and of course rising every hour. Time frame is 8:15, so there's 45 minutes left in this session, and it says it right there. And let's take a look at this on the 15-minute time frame for a lot of good choppy action. But if you look at this into a perspective deal, we could almost say, let's compare this to the stock market as one example. How many days could you have where a stock, say, breaks out from, say, $15.70 up to $18.50 within the day? That's about 2.5 plus 20, that's 270. So have a gain of like 18%. Well, a couple times a year, maybe they might have a day like that. Well, how often is the market going to do this in, well, a half a day? See, the volatility, what I like about these crypto markets, is much more superior to that of the cryptocurrency market, because most times you're going to expect in a day maybe a stock might move 3-4% from low to high, and then the bigger ones, like the more higher ones, may only make a 2% move, of course, depending on the day. So that's Theta. Let's look next at OST, which I looked at last night in the video. It's in at 7:15, and weekly chart doing all that. But this is the daily though, and this is what I like, is this little pattern here. I was talking about this last night. Strat has it too, and I noticed it like 20, well, not 20 seconds, about 5 minutes after the completion of the video. I'm like, ooh, Strat looks a lot like this. So that's going to be the next coin after this. But so you come up to this established resistance at 721, 715, where it is now. Comes back down to the 18 average of highs for several days. I like how these 2 days session here just had the 18 average of low support, and now we see the market having a nice little breakout. 4-hour term time frame. The resistance established pretty much in here. You got the range is from the 698 up to 714, and we can see how it pretty much hit it, piercing above at 7 o'clock, 11 o'clock time frame stamps. But 2 periods ago, breaking out above the 18 average of highs. I like how I'm seeing that. Breaking out above this level of resistance, liking more to see that as well. And with where we stand right now, 1 hour and 20 minutes into this session, as there's 240 left of a 4, It's still holding in there within this. So I really, really, really want to see this hold right now in this particular time frame area, roughly around the 690s area. Yes, I can go down to like the 18 average of those in 670 and come back up. That's still fine. Or it would still not be a surprise to see it go down there and still have a nice pop through higher. But this thing, it looks to be as if it might be ready to go. So looking at this line in here, when you're looking at this, you see, okay, okay, now that my drawing tool should work. You look at this, there's a resistance, decent volatility, just going from 643 to 722, back to 661, up to, I mean, this is the type of stuff a lot of traders are looking for to have, which is why I like these types of markets as well. But you have another nice correction here, bringing it down, and then you get to the situation where the next time it got up to it, there was no resistance. As it got above it, it established its resistance here, and now it's supporting. That's what the action is doing now within this previous area. So therefore, if you see this thing for next key levels breaking down below here, we're talking about previous low. And if we're talking about breaking out above here, I'm not talking about previous high, because I think it would just break through that. In fact, if anything, and I'm not going to tell you the number, I'm just going to tell you the formula. I think the area we go to would be a little bit higher than the Satoshi price of 769 divided by 703 to the root of 1.618, multiply 703 again. A few percentage points higher than that is where I think we'll go. That's just your basic Fibonacci upside, which means I need to move higher, and it's not basic, I don't think. It's just not known. So this route hit from low to high, down to this low, so I need a correctionary phase going down that makes the higher low, and then breaking above this resistance. That's the area that has worked pretty good in the past. And 15-minute time frame, not much more to say. Let's go on to the Stratus now. And we'll work our time frames up. We'll go 15 minutes, which is looking pretty good right now. But hourly time frame, it broke out above the 18 average of highs at 3 o'clock in the morning. It did so leaving the 18 at about the 204 handle. It then had this 208 handle that it broke resistance from, and it's managed to make it up to 223. Still continuing to do well. A little bit of correctionary move over the last couple of periods, but still nicely extended from the 18. Seeing a move like this, I can see resistance at to the 203 up to the 208 handle, so that's what I really need to see it hold at any type of correctionary moves. Looking at this on the 4-hour term, huge resistance in here. So yeah, the 203, 204 handle is monstrous. And when we look at where we have the line in here, let me just get the line in. There we go. It's broken it. It's a clear break at this stage. So when I talk about things, yeah, I'm waiting for this to happen, get above this, get below that, all that kind of stuff. Well, here it is. It's just gotten above it. So now what do you do? For me, when I look at it, there really is a couple measures if you're playing this game and you want to wait for it to happen. One is you just wait and you go when it's noticeably above it, but not overextended, which is what it looks like here. We'll see more on the daily if it's overextended, and it's not. Or you put a buy order in. So I might put a buy order in right around this line area. Maybe I want to go a little bit deeper, try to get the 201 handle, 202. Maybe I want to be safer, go for 206. Because a lot of times with these markets, I see a situation where it breaks established, makes a new established resistance level higher, and then it comes back to it, and then it just gets back to where it was, and then higher thereafter it. Daily term time frame. So as we can see in here, this was a spot where it was below the 18 average of lows. From the bottom on November the 20th, it did very well via correcting that of time. On the November 28th session, it got above the 18 average of highs, established that resistance in there at the 204 mark. And then 5 days of just riding this 18 average of highs, as we've been seeing in the short term, doing very well. Today's a day that it's broken out above it. So it's noticeably above it. We look at this on a weekly term time frame. And in this situation here, I mean, it's still just in the whatever. So what kind of potential do we have here? The daily chart says it's looking good. Well, right off the bat, we can see in here that this resistance breakout could easily go to previous high at 26. So there's one target area there for where it could go. 26 minus current price at 22 is 4. So we're looking at a differential of what could be a 20% move. Just looking at that, I'm just going to scroll back to see if, yeah, that's a very, very key area. Even into the 27 change range as well. It could just, if for reaching previous high. But when looking at this at the weekly term, this 18 average of highs, or 27, would make a move above it. It's not like it's uncommon for the market to make any kind of move. And this also has the potential, when these cryptos can go, to have a who knows how large of a monstrous move. It's a rare situation for you to go long now, and within the day, week, or even a couple weeks, market to hold in well, and then to have monster gains of like 3-4x or whatever. But it could. After all, I could be saying, oh, it's, I mean, I'm not going to, this might not have been a good setup here, but I'd be saying, okay, oh yeah, breaking above this resistance here at 19, maybe you could have a very good gain, and, well, then, of course, you did. Stuff like that. And that is Stratus. A couple more to look at. Appc being next. We'll start off with the weekly term, which, of course, has just been down. 35 handle going down to, well, let's even call it the 350 handle, going down to the third. I mean, that's down a lot. When we look at this going back earlier this year, looking at this on the daily term time frame, I had this very interesting great buy day. If anyone got in on it, obviously I didn't. But within that, we can see in here that 18 from the bottom, lot from November 28th, this is a week, congesting within this 18 average. Getting above this 1371, 1400 convincingly, like 1432, definitely plays out for some solid potential. I like how it's moving right now, though, because support established 1177, big resistance established November 28th at the high of 1400 handle. And with this nice little support, testing it a little bit in here. Didn't get above the 18, but it also didn't fail, as the 18 average was successful supports within the lows at the 3-7 hour time frame in yesterday's session. But this current period has just broken out above the 18 average of highs, so another test of this. I would still like, if it's going to pull, if it's going to go up here, for it to hold the 1275-ish area, but breaking above, definitely, as we've seen in the daily, has a lot of the big potential. This move has just happened within this hour, the 8 o'clock hour, as it was showing a lot of strength amongst the 18 average of highs, and sure enough, breaking above this resistance at 1277 to 1290, it had a very good gain. So let's put a line there, so when we see this on a more shorter term level, we can see how this goes. 15-minute chart. Well, there you have it. Look at how fast this move goes. You resist this line at 4:45 in the morning. You successfully correct within the 18, and then as it breaks, the big gain. Shorten it out even some more. There we have it. Now in your situation, if you're looking for the spot of, okay, you're breaking out 1306, you're watching it go higher, I'm going to put my buy order in at 1278. We can see now you've already gotten 2 points above the low at 1276. So you would be in, maybe you'd put your stop loss below 1234, maybe you'd do whatever you need to do. But within that move, when it broke that level of resistance, it had a fast move to get up to it, as we can see. It did not stop going up from there. It corrected a bit sideways, but when it got going in here, 1, 2, 3 minutes to go from 1294 up to 1350. So that's 56 points. So about 4% or 3% that fast. Still, nonetheless, that's pretty good. Let's go on to the final code. And that'll be one of my favorites, which is that of Cloak. And within such in here, daily term time frame has been spending a lot of time within this 18 average, is resisting the highs at this stage right now. Looking at the weekly chart, this is from Binance. Been in a big downtrend, been going sideways, so the resistance up here is already at 52. So that's definitely decent volatility just in that level there. But we're looking at this a little more short term. Again, this is the daily chart. Let's look at this on the 4 hour. And what we can see is this very short-term resistance has just broken past it. We've had a few of these spikes, peak spikes in here. We got the general area roughly around here, as That was the resistance here. Of course, it got well above it there. It was a resistance again here another time. So you basically put two lines, one around 36.77 and one over 4,100. In itself, just that is like 15% volatility. Situation here, if I were to look to put a buy order just to try to get a play, try to get the best, cheapest prices possible, I'd probably put it around this level of resistance at about 34.40-ish area, 34.30s, around that. And meet up with the 18 average of highs. Maybe in a spot getting above this, if you see it 37.38 and change, it could have some interesting moves. The 1 hour time frame, when it got going from the 18 average of lows, it had one decent period to get to the 18 highs and then three very good ones to this point. Now a little bit of a small or a decent pullback, a decent size one, but small from the four periods. At least thus far it's small. Within the 15-minute time frame after this move occurred, the first one had a nice little pullback to the 18, but then, as we can see, 2 periods after this red candle, of just hanging in there, decent sized green period. When you break resistance, look how fast this move is. That's very common in these things. So you know, if something like this were to happen where it gets above the 18 and it breaks above 37.46, it would probably have a very good gain. And I was planning on doing about a 12-13 minute video. It worked out to 21. But that's how it works. Thank you for tuning in and have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.